relationships you build with coaches and players, it's all about that, in my opinion. Wins and losses are important, obviously, but relationships I built with my coaches all the way back, like I said, my high school coach was a big influence in my life, and all the way through every coach I've ever had any dealings with basically has been a big influence. And then the players, just the relationships is what makes it special for sure. Same story, my high school coach, still very close to. We had dinner with him this other night. Gary Weller, the guy that first hired me as a coach, and just went down. He was actually inducted into the Fayetteville Hall of Fame last month, so we went down for his Hall of Fame induction. Dave Gutshall at Cummins High School. I stayed in touch with him all the time too, so just go right down the list of guys that are very important to me. And then obviously guys that played for me too. Most of them on the staff at Reeves were actually ex-players.
Oh wow!
So it's definitely been a family type thing for me for sure. The leadership from our seniors each year was what carried us through, I think. Really. Like for example, one year we had a young man who I think we had lost a tough game to Burlington Cummins in the regular season, and so we were getting ready to head into the playoffs. And Jerome Simpson actually played in the NFL for a little while. I brought him in the office. I said, as a senior leader, what we need to do to get this team going? He said, I think we need to paint the shoes gold. So we started painting on Thursday nights before Friday game. We'd bring everybody's players' shoes in and paint them gold. And so it kind of rallied everybody together. And for that year was paint them gold. The next year's team said, can you paint them gold? I said, absolutely not. That was a one-year thing. We don't. Reedswood had a really good history back in the 60s, 70s, but then we had a real long drought, about 30 years, I believe, something like that, before we had a state title. So winning that first one at Wake Forest will probably be one that stands out to me. And then, I retired and came back, and going one after that, we actually were playing in Raleigh. We're down 21-7 at the Northeastern, and we had a really good team that year and came back and beat them on the last second field goal. Those two probably are the ones that really stand out to me in my mind the most. When I left the first time, Doug Robertson, who now is the coach at Greensboro Page, took over for me, and they won the state title the next year too. So he did a really good job. But then he decided, he wanted to see what it was like to go somewhere else. So he left Reedsville, and he left. It just felt like it was the right time for me to come back, and they've treated me really well when I came back too. So it's been a blessing to be able to come back for the last 10 years now too. But now I am retiring, so it's definitely going to be sit on the back porch and root for him from a distance now for sure.
But you do know the head coach, right?
I know him pretty well, and I have a little bit of say-so maybe along the way. See, I do a little driver's ed on the side, and so I was doing driver's ed, and Q called me on my cell phone, and said, we've met today, and was, want to let you know we've been inducted into the Hall of Fame. And again, just any kind of award that I get, in my mind, it shouldn't be given to me. It should be given to the folks that I've worked with, because we all know that a coach is not a one-man team. There's no way Jimmy Teague has done this by himself, and I've had a great support group, a great group of coaches, and I try to make sure those guys know that if Jimmy Teague is getting some kind of award, it ain't because of what I've done, it's because of what we've done together. And so it's a great honor to be in the Hall of Fame, but I think it's also an honor for all the guys that I've worked with during the course of my career as well.